Hello everybody and welcome to Tiger Tales, a place you'll find stories and fanfictions written and read to you by your host, me, Tai Tiger. Today we're diving back into Power Rangers Universe 19, a story-built universe of different Kamen Rider and Power Rangers storylines and now Beetle Troopers, written and read to you by your host, Cosplay Dude 67 on the Power Rangers Universe 19 podcast. I have an adaptation of Kamen Rider Kiva's storyline, which we'll listen to now, on the Power Rangers Universe 19 as it exists in that universe. That being said, today's chapter solidifies more of the continuity of Power Rangers Universe 19. Kamen Rider Kiva takes place in the same town, Blessington, as Power Rangers Cyberforce. But in this chapter, Shinzo, our Kamen Rider Kiva, has to leave Blessington to go help somebody out. Turns out someone else has got a Fangire problem. So, let's dive in to Power Rangers Universe 19 and Kamen Rider Kiva, Chapter 7, Fangire in a Wizard's Town. Penny and Shinzo sat in the kitchen watching Sean cook. Sean, are you sure there is nothing I can do? Penny offered. Oh, please, Princess, don't be silly. I love to cook, Sean replied with a smile. I must admit, it does smell kind of good in here, Shinzo muttered. Of course you would say that, Penny sneered. Suddenly, the house phone started to ring. Sean threw his tea towel over his shoulder, walked over and grabbed the phone and answered it. Hello, Sean answered. Hello, Sean. It's Alistair, a voice responded. Oh, Alistair, long time no hear. How are things? Sean cheered. Pretty good, actually, but I'm afraid this is more of a favour call than a social call, Alistair said. Oh, please, go on, Sean replied. I got word that Kamen Rider Kiva was living with you, protecting the Blood Realm Princess, as he should. Well, I'm in league with Kamen Rider Wizard now, and he got himself in a fight with a rather strange being. When I got told that it was able to suck the life force out of people, I thought to myself it might be a Fangire, Alistair explained. A Fangire in Stone Canyon? Rather strange, they normally keep themselves close to the portal locations, Sean said, looking at Shinzo, who raised an eyebrow towards Sean as he heard the word Fangire. Would Kiva better come and aid Wizard? As strong as Wizard is, these magical abilities of his aren't doing anything towards this Fangire, Alistair stated solemnly. Would Kiva be willing to help? Sean repeated, looking at Shinzo. Shinzo just nodded without hesitation. That would be a yes. I will send him and the princess to Stone Canyon immediately, Sean told Alistair. Thank you, Sean. I will make sure to return the favour, Sean replied. Okay, talk to you soon, Sean said, then he hung up the phone. So, we're going to Stone Canyon? Penny asked. A Fangire has been fighting Kamen Rider Wizard there. He's in need of the expert, Sean explained. Yeah, let's go. I'll go wake Komori, Shinzo said with an eye roll, then Penny followed Shinzo to go prepare herself for their road trip. In Stone Canyon, the unicorn Fangire ran through the park. It was a bulky stained glass window-looking monster with the head shape of a horse, a long horn coming off of its head. He had big shoulder pads, long spiral-pointed blades extended both from his gauntlets. He ran through the grassy area and Kamen Rider Wizard was chasing after him. He activated his ring and summoned his sword. He jumped up and over the unicorn monster. He slashed it with a flaming slash. Then again and again, and then kicked the monster, but making it stumble back. But then the unicorn monster aimed one of his spiral blades, and a spark of lightning burst from the tip and hit Wizard head-on, knocking him to the floor. He climbed up to his feet slowly. God, this thing's annoying, Wizard growled as he stood up. Says you, the unicorn Fangire barked. They always say that, a voice called out. Then Wizard watched as the man walked between them. He was a young gentleman. Then Wizard noticed the biomechanical metal bat flying overhead, a pure circle with a face, pair of wings, and tiny little claws. Who are you guys? Kamen Rider Wizard asked. You're Kiva, the unicorn Fangire butted in. Yeah, I am, the guy smiled. He turned to face the Fangire. He leaned his head back to face Wizard. Name's Shinzo. Nice to meet you. Oh, and that's Komori. Shinzo grinned. Then Shinzo held up his hand into the air, and Komori flew into Shinzo's grip. Shinzo grabbed Komori with his right hand. Bite! Komori yelled out, and then Komori was brought to Shinzo's left hand, and Komori sunk his teeth into Shinzo's skin. Black veins rippled up his arm and across his face. Suddenly, magic chains formed around his waist,
and formed into a red and gold henshin belt. The belt was all red and had a metal rod above the waistline. Shinzo held out Komori. "Henshin!" Shinzo called out and placed Komori up to the rod of the belt. With his little claws, he latched on, and then Shinzo placed Komori onto the belt, clipped him in upside down. Suddenly, metal liquid formed around Shinzo. And then, with a shatter of glass, the liquid formed into his rider suit, forming Kamen Rider Kiva.
Kamen Rider Kiva stood before Kamen Rider Wizard. "You're wasting your time," the unicorn Fangire called out. "Oh, please," Kiva barked. Then Kiva ran at the Fangire head-on. With his claws, he slashed the Fangire, then jumped up and kicked the monster in the chest, making him stumble. "Screw you, Kiva. You won't beat me, as I am Unicorrupt," the monster yelled out. Then he shot a blast of lightning at the floor, causing a small explosion. The two riders swiped away the smoke and saw the monster had vanished. Both riders demorphed, and both boys introduced themselves. "I'm Jacob," one said. "Shinzo," the other one replied. "We better chase after it," Jacob snapped and went to run off into town, but Shinzo stopped him. "I don't know how you do things around here, man, but it comes to Fangires, we actually have a detector," Shinzo told him. "Awesome. Get it out then," Jacob replied. "She's of Alistair," Shinzo smiled at him. Both boys headed to Alistair, where Penny sat there talking to him. They walked into Alistair's shop. Penny introduced herself to Jacob, and both Penny and Shinzo explained Fangires and how they hide as humans. Penny, being the princess of the Blood Realm, was gifted eyes that could see auras. She told both Shinzo and Jacob that their auras are red due to them being Kamen Riders. Power Rangers' auras are green, humans are blue, and Fangires' auras can be seen even in their human form. "That is actually very helpful. We need to start looking for this Unicorrupt," Jacob said. "I like your spirit, man," Shinzo grinned. Then Shinzo, Jacob, and Penny, with Komori hidden in Shinzo's bag, all headed into town. Penny watched the people, their natural blue auras blended together, but there, amongst them, was a black and red aura, walking amongst the crowd, hiding. "That one, walking over there, with a black hoodie on," Penny pointed. Both the boys ran at the hooded young gentleman, and he instantly clocked them. He started to run the opposite direction, but Shinzo jumped over him, landing in front. "Don't even bother," Shinzo growled. "Damn," the guy said. Then he shifted into the Fangire form once again. Unicorrupt, the unicorn Fangire, stood before Shinzo and Jacob. The crowd started clearing the street, all screaming in fear. "Let's show this creep," Jacob muttered. "Damn straight," Shinzo replied. Komori flew out of Shinzo's bag. "Hey, you can't do this without me," Komori barked. "Don't worry, partner. I haven't forgotten." Shinzo grinned. Then he grabbed Komori.
Jacob nods in agreement. With a wave of his hand, a whirlwind of blue energy envelops him, and he raises his left hand to create a portal-like effect. The wizard driver belt around his waist glows as he inserts the wizard ring, which the device declares, "Connect the magic!"
Shinzo grabbed Komori with his right hand. "Bite!" Komori yelled out, and then Komori was brought to Shinzo's left hand, and Komori sunk his teeth into Shinzo's skin. Black veins rippled up his arm and across his face. Suddenly, magic chains formed around his waist, and formed into a red and gold henshin belt. The belt was all red and had a metal rod above the waistline. Shinzo held out Komori.
"Henshin!" Jacob says, pulling the lever on the belt.
Flame!
Jacob is engulfed in a blinding light, and when it fades, he emerges as Kamen Rider Wizard.
Shinzo called out and placed Komori up to the rod of the belt. With his little claws, he latched on, and then Shinzo placed Komori onto the belt, clipped him in upside down. Suddenly, metal liquid formed around Shinzo. And then, with a shatter of glass, the liquid formed into his rider suit, forming Kamen Rider Kiva.
Kamen Rider Kiva jumped up and kicked the Fangire. It then swung its spiral blades at both of the Kamen Riders, but Wizard slid between them with his blade summoned. He blocked the attack. He flipped back and kicked the Fangire. Kiva dived forward and tackled the Fangire down. As he rolled off the monster, Wizard jumped up and summoned a magical rune. Several firebolts rained down from the rune and hit the Fangire dead on. The Fangire stood and his entire body was smoking. Then Unicrupt leaned forward and a white laser bolted from his horn on his head that blasted both riders. They both stood up. As they hit the floor pretty hard, they brushed themselves off. "You got another form?" Wizard asked. "Yeah, I do," Kiva nodded. "Let's do this," Wizard ordered. Wizard replaced his fire ring with his water ring and placed it over his belt. Kiva placed a wolf whistle into Komori's mouth and Komori blew it. Both riders shifted into their new forms. Then Kiva ran at Unicrupt with his saber in hand and slashed the Fangire multiple times, before grabbing the Fangire, picking him up, lifting him over his head and smashing him into the ground. The Fangire stood and looked at Wizard. Wizard pointed down at the ground and Unicrupt looked down to see that he was stood on a big blue rune on the ground. Suddenly a massive blast of water shot from the rune and shot the Fangire into the air. Then Kiva took his chance. He placed the saber in his mouth, jumped up high in the sky turning blood red. Then Kiva came falling down and sliced the Fangire. The monster exploded into pieces and its soul flew high up into the air and bolted away, flying into Curse's mouth. He swallowed the soul and kept it safe in his stomach. Kiva landed, the sky turned back to its bright blue. Kiva and Wizard high-fived each other and demorphed. "Not gonna lie, man, you're a dope rider," Jacob said with a smile. "Back at you, dude," Shinzo cheered. Shinzo and Jacob went back to Alistair's shop, and after an hour or so of chatting and hanging out, Penny and Shinzo said their goodbyes and started heading home. Alistair and Jacob waved them off. "They are good people," Alistair muttered. "Yeah, good to know we have backup out there," Jacob said. Shinzo drove as Penny enjoyed the music on the radio. "They seem like cool dudes," Penny grinned. "Yeah, good to know we have backup out there," Shinzo said. Shinzo then turned up the radio as they headed home to Blessington. And there we have it, guys. Our small, minute crossover between Wizard and Kiva. I wanted to make it short, but sweet. Kind of build up more of the universe, per se. Now, of course, this is in Universe 19, a podcast written and read to you with multiple Power Rangers, Kamen Rider, and Beautiful Trooper storylines by Cosplay Dude 67. You might want to go check out Universe 19 and Tiger Tales, where you'll find this story as well. Go check out Cosplay Dude's other podcast, Sailor Moon E, Storytime with Cosplay Dude 67, and his YouTube channel, Nostalgia Time. This is where you'll find all of his podcasts, storylines, and fanfictions uploaded, and he does a great job. Make sure you go check out the third member of the Three Ranger Bros, Mark the Cornish Ranger, with his podcast, Nerds from Comics. There you'll find audiobooks, versions of comic books, which he's adapted himself, and his original storylines. Then, of course, subscribe to Tiger Tales. And make sure you check out Tiger Tales The Lost Stories. There you'll find more fanfictions and storylines, fanfictions with a twist, but all the stories there are in first person perspective. That being said, thank you all for watching, and I shall see you guys really soon.